Yes, indeed. And before we see them, as we mentioned, we'll see the heavyweight showcase for Michael Grant as he tries to knock out an unbeaten opponent in Dominick Guinn. 7 weeks ago, Grant fought the latest of a series of bouts against relatively nondescript opponents designed to get him back into position in terms of confidence and performance to once again perhaps challenge for the heavyweight crown. After his 8th round technical knockout of an outclassed opponent named Gilberto Martinez, Grant was subjected to what I'm sure his trainer Teddy Atlas would call constructive criticism. But in the ring, in front of television cameras, with all of ESPN's viewing audience able to listen. Let's hear that lecture.
I want to at least be able to have a chance to perform the fight. Win or lose, I don't give a damn. I do not care. But to go in there handcuffed by your emotions, the way you are, and by your doubts, the way you are, we're not going to allow that to continue.
Now, as we mentioned, George Foreman's in Canastota for the International Boxing Hall of Fame induction, so we're privileged to be joined by our Boxing After Dark expert, Emmanuel Stewart, who also, as you know, trains heavyweight champion Lennox Lewis, the man who started all the trouble for Michael Grant when he knocked him out in 2 rounds 3 years ago. Grant, I think, deserves a lot of credit, Emmanuel, for the painstaking and difficult path he's taken to try to rebuild himself as a heavyweight contender, doing it the hard way. But is it possible for him to get all the way back, given the way Teddy Atlas criticizes him in public like that?
Well, I would put it this way. It depends a lot on the individual fighters. Some fighters can't tolerate that. It depends on who you're dealing with. But Teddy is definitely treading on dangerous waters. You know, it's getting to be where his image more now is of criticizing and embarrassing his fighters more so than training. And I think sometimes it's getting to be too much lecturing and not enough training. And if he continues that, he may possibly lose Michael Grant, much as he's had problems with a lot of his other fighters that he's had in the past.
Well, we'll see how Grant responds to his confrontational relationship with Atlas as they go into the ring together tonight. Here now the tale of the tape for Grant against 2000 U.S. Olympian Dominick Guinn. And you can see that Grant has the 4.5-inch height advantage. He'll enjoy a height advantage against virtually all of his opponents. Arm length, however, only a 1/2-inch advantage in this measurement, which goes from the armpit to the end of the fist with the arm fully extended. And the 36-pound weight advantage you see at the bottom of the scale for Grant over Guinn. Rules of the bout with our unofficial ringside scorer, Harold Letterman.
The Michael Grant Dominick Guinn fight is scheduled for 10 rounds, non-title, using the unified rules that you see on your screen. Jim, real quick, the 4 criteria that the judges are going to use to score each individual round: clean punching, effective aggressiveness, ring generalship, and defense, with a strong emphasis on clean, effective punching. Jim.
All right, thank you, Harold. Dominick Guinn, 21-0, sees this fight as an enormous opportunity for him. He got into boxing at 9 years old. His original dream was to try to win an Olympic gold medal, but he failed to make it to Sydney in 2000 after being beaten at the Olympic trials by a fighter named Calvin Brock, who scored a knockout on the undercard tonight.
He's very unusual in the sense that I don't think I've ever heard of another heavyweight who has had over 300 amateur fights. So he knows about being in the ring, and he has some skills. Another distinction, he went to the same high school in Little Rock, Arkansas as Bill Clinton.
Does that mean he's slick?
He's slick, he's quick, and he can punch a little.
Dominick Guinn, 21 fights as a professional, more than 300, as Larry mentioned, as an amateur. That's one distinction that sets him apart from Grant, who of course came to boxing as an all-around athlete from other sports, had a juniors college football scholarship, was spotted at age 21 by famous Las Vegas referee Richard Steele. Steele was the one who suggested that Grant become a fighter. You see Ronnie Shields, incidentally, and Mark Breland, 2 familiar faces there flanking Guinn. They are co-trainers for the Arkansas prospect. Now here comes Grant.
It's highly unusual, Jim, for a fighter who has been to the mountaintop at least to try to win the heavyweight championship and to make millions of dollars in this day and age, to come back and fight a number of fights for very, very low four-figure and five-figure sums, and you have to give Grant all the credit in the world. This has been sort of like his amateur career extended. And what we wonder about is, now that he's fighting a fighter who thinks he can win, will we see a better Michael Grant than we've seen in these other fights? Michael Grant, who has seemed very tentative until now.
You need only spend a few minutes with Michael Grant to learn that he is one of the nicest people you'll meet in boxing or any other walk of life. That in itself is enough to leave large, lingering doubts about him in the minds of many. Let's go to ring announcer Michael Buffer now for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, by way of Bally's Atlantic City, welcome to an evening of professional boxing brought to you by Main Events, along with Budweiser and HBO Sports. The first bout brought to you in association with Cedric Kushner Promotions. All bouts are sanctioned by the New Jersey State Athletic Control Board. The three judges at ringside for this first bout will be Pierre Benoist, Hilton Whitaker, and Luis Rivera. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Benji Estevez. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from Atlantic City, New Jersey, 10 rounds of boxing. This is in the heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing red trimmed with black, he officially weighs 218 pounds. A perfect professional record consisting of 21 bouts, 21 victories, including 16 knockouts. From Hot Springs, Arkansas, here is the undefeated Dominick Southern Disaster Guinn. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the red corner, wearing white trimmed with black, he officially weighed in at 254 pounds. As a professional, an excellent record consisting of 38 victories, including 29 knockouts, with only 2 defeats. From Norristown, Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen, Michael Grant.
Okay, men, I already gave you the pre-bout instructions. Against, I'll repeat. Protect yourself at all times. Obey my commands at all times. Teddy, trunks a little. This is it right here, the cutoff, okay? It's a little high right here. You got it? You're all straight with that? There's the belly button here. We're all straight there, right? Touch up. Good luck to both of you.
On the way up, Michael Grant fought trial horses like Al Cole and David Izon and Obed Sullivan. From Guinn's point of view, he is the trial horse now. Both of them see this as a step-up fight. For Grant, a step-up from his recent competition. For Guinn, a step-up from any competition.
Dominick Guinn acknowledged that he would try to do what virtually every opponent tries to do against Michael Grant now. Run across the ring and land something big early. The idea is to try to get Grant into the negative frame of mind that comes with being hit by big punches.
Well, I think Guinn's experience that he's had in the amateur may be a big factor in the fight. Even though he's a much smaller guy, seemingly he's intending to put a lot of fast pressure on Grant. Grant's a big guy, but usually big guys are not that coordinated when you get inside a certain distance.
At 6.